Have you ever seen something so unbelievable, so utterly bizarre, that you had to rub your eyes to make sure you weren't dreaming? Well, get ready, because today's story is exactly that. It's a tale that sounds like it was plucked straight from a cartoon, but I promise you, it's as real as it gets. This is the story of Jaku, the patriotic chicken who took the world by storm. It all started on the glitzy stage of a major talent show. The lights are blazing, the crowd is buzzing with anticipation, and the judges are ready to be wowed. The host announces the next act, and out walks a woman named Shannon, holding a chicken. Yes, a full-grown, feathered chicken. The audience chuckles. A few people roll their eyes. The judges exchange skeptical glances. "A chicken," one of them mouths, barely hiding a smirk. You can feel the doubt hanging heavy in the air. What could a chicken possibly do on a talent show stage? Lay an egg? Shannon calmly places her chicken, whose name we soon learn is Jaku, in front of a small, custom-made keyboard. The keys are lit up, a little ramp leading up to it. The skepticism in the room instantly turns into outright bewilderment. Is this a joke? Is she serious? The head judge, a man known for his tough-as-nails critiques, leans forward, a mix of curiosity and impatience on his face. "All right," he says. "Let's see what this is all about." Shannon gives Jaku a gentle nod, a quiet signal between trainer and prodigy. And then it happens. Jaku pecks at the keys, not randomly, not in a chaotic frenzy of pecking for food. It's deliberate, methodical. One note, then another. The first few notes are shaky, and the audience is still holding its collective breath, unsure of what they're witnessing. But then, a melody starts to form. A familiar tune. It's America, the Beautiful. Silence descends upon the auditorium. The smirks on the judges' faces vanish, replaced by wide-eyed, jaw-dropped astonishment. The audience is frozen, their laughter forgotten. A chicken is playing a patriotic anthem on a keyboard. Let that sink in. Jaku pecks each key with precision, the red lights guiding her as she flawlessly plays the song from beginning to end. It's not just a few notes, it's the entire verse. The melody, clear and unmistakable, echoes through the silent theater. When the final note rings out, the silence is shattered by an eruption of applause. The crowd leaps to its feet, cheering, whistling, completely losing their minds. People are looking at each other, laughing in disbelief. The judges are on their feet too, clapping so hard their hands must be stinging. The tough judge just shakes his head, a massive grin spreading across his face. He's seen it all in his career, but he's never seen anything like this. So, how on earth did this happen? How do you teach a chicken to play the piano? This wasn't some overnight trick. It was the result of 2 years of incredible patience, dedication, and a belief that defied all logic. Shannon, Jaku's trainer, was part of a musical duo called the They had a vision. A crazy, beautiful vision. To form a band of performing chickens. Everyone thought they were nuts. Friends, family, you name it. "You can't train a chicken like that," they'd say. "It's impossible." But Shannon didn't listen. She saw something special in Jaku. The training process was painstaking. It started with a simple concept from behavioral psychology called operant conditioning. The basic idea is rewarding a desired behavior. She used a clicker, a common tool in animal training. Every time Jaku did something right, like pecking a specific target, she would hear a click and immediately get a treat, her favorite bits of corn and seeds. First, Shannon taught Jaku to peck at a specific spot. Then, she introduced the keyboard. The goal was to get Jaku to associate pecking the lit-up keys with a reward. It was slow going. Days, weeks, and months were spent in their little training room. Imagine the scene. Shannon patiently lighting up a single key, waiting for Jaku to peck it, and then rewarding her over and over and over again. Most people would have given up after a week, let alone 2 years. There were moments of frustration, of course. Days when Jaku just wasn't interested, or when progress seemed to stall completely. This is where Shannon's unwavering belief came in. She never got angry, never pushed too hard. She understood that she was working with an animal, and patience was the most important tool she had. She built a relationship based on trust and positive reinforcement. Jakshu wasn't just a performer. She was a partner. Shannon chose America the Beautiful for a reason. It's a song everyone knows, and it's relatively simple. Melody was achievable for a beginner pianist, even a chicken one. Slowly but surely, Jaku started to connect the dots. She learned to follow the sequence of lit-up keys, her sharp eyes and quick pecks perfectly timed. She was learning to play a song. Back on that stage, as the standing ovation continued, the judges were practically speechless. "I've been doing this for decades," one of them said, "and I have never, ever been so good." That was incredible. They praised Shannon not just for the act itself, but for the obvious love and dedication it took to achieve it. It was a testament to the power of believing in something, no matter how outlandish it seems to others. The video of Jaku's performance went viral almost instantly. It was everywhere. Morning news shows, late-night talk shows, social media feeds across the globe. Everyone was talking about the patriotic piano-playing chicken. Jaku became an international celebrity overnight. She wasn't just a gimmick. She was a symbol of the unexpected, a reminder that talent and intelligence can be found in the most surprising of places. Jaku's story is so much more than just a funny animal trick. It's a story about perception. We look at a chicken and we see, well, a chicken. We have a set of preconceived notions about what they are and what they can do. Shannon looked at Jaku and saw potential. She saw a clever, capable creature that could learn and perform. Given the right encouragement and a whole lot of patience, it challenges our own limitations, doesn't it? How many times have we been told something is impossible? How many times have we told ourselves that? Maybe we wanted to learn a new language, pick up an instrument, or start a new career. But the doubt from others, or from within, was too loud. Jaku's story is a powerful counterargument to that doubt. It proves that with the right method, a positive attitude, and an almost superhuman level of persistence, the impossible can become possible. The bond between Shannon and Jaku was the real magic behind the act. It wasn't about forcing an animal to do something unnatural. It was about creating a partnership. Shannon learned to understand Jaku's behaviors and motivations, and Jaku learned to trust Shannon completely. That performance was the beautiful result of that 2-year-long conversation between human and animal. It was a dance of patience and reward, of belief and breakthrough. Sadly, Jaku passed away a few years after her rise to fame, but her legacy lives on. She and her bandmate Spitzel, who also played the keyboard, left an indelible mark on the world. They made millions of people smile, laugh, and question their own assumptions. They showed us that the world is full of wonder, and that sometimes the most extraordinary things come in the most ordinary-looking packages. So, the next time someone tells you your dream is silly or that your goal is impossible, just think of Jaku. Think of a chicken, on a giant stage, under the bright lights, confidently pecking out a patriotic masterpiece for a stunned world. If a chicken can learn to play the piano, what are you capable of? What impossible thing can you achieve with a little bit of patience and a whole lot of belief? Jaku taught us that the only real limits are the ones we place on ourselves. Thank you so much for watching and sharing this incredible story with me. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button and subscribe for more tales that prove reality is often stranger and more wonderful than fiction. See you in the next one. Ever heard that old saying, you can't teach an old dog new tricks? Well, what about teaching a chicken to play the piano? Yeah, you heard me right. This is the story of Arthur, a man with more time on his hands than sense. Some would say, and Henrietta, a chicken who was about to become a star. It all started on a dreary Tuesday. Arthur, recently retired and profoundly bored, was staring out at his backyard. His gaze fell upon his small flock of chickens, pecking and clucking without a care in the world. Then, his eyes landed on the old, dusty upright piano in his living room, a relic from his wife's childhood. An idea, so absurd it made him laugh out loud, sparked in his mind. What if, chose Henrietta? She wasn't the biggest or the prettiest chicken, but she had a certain intelligent glint in her eye. Or maybe it was just a reflection. Either way, the decision was made. The first few days were a comedy of errors. Arthur would gently place Henrietta on the piano stool, her little chicken feet dangling awkwardly. He tried everything. He'd peck at the keys with his own finger, hoping she'd mimic him. He scattered a trail of corn across the black and whites, which just resulted in a frantic, unmusical feast. His neighbors, Mr. and Mrs. Gable, would watch from their window, shaking their heads. Arthur could practically hear their thoughts. Poor old Arthur. He's finally lost his marbles. His daughter, Chloe, was a bit more direct. "Dad, what are you doing?" she asked during her weekly visit, pointing a spatula at the chicken perched on the piano. "It's a chicken. It's not going to play Chopin." Arthur just smiled. "We're working on it. We're starting with scales." Chloe sighed. But there was a flicker of amusement in her eyes. Days turned into weeks. Arthur, ever the patient soul, developed a system. He found that Henrietta was particularly fond of sunflower seeds. So he started placing a single seed on a specific key. At first, Henrietta would just gobble it up, but one day, as she pecked at the seed, her beak hit the key. A single, clear note rang through the quiet house. Ding! Arthur's heart leaped. "You did it, Henrietta. You did it." He was so excited he almost scared her off the stool. From that day on, that's how they practiced. Arthur would place a seed, Henrietta would peck, and a note would play. He started with C, then G, then E. He was teaching her a simple three-note melody, C-G-E. It was slow, painstaking work. More often than not, Henrietta was more interested in the seeds than the music. There were days of frustration, days when Arthur thought the Gables and his own daughter were right. He was just a crazy old man with a chicken. He almost gave up. The town's annual talent show was approaching, and his friends at the local coffee shop would joke about his star pupil. "Hey Art, is Henrietta ready for Carnegie Hall?" one would say, and the group would chuckle. Arthur would just sip his coffee, a small, tight smile on his face, but their light-hearted jabs stung more than he let on. Doubt is a heavy coat to wear, especially when you're already feeling the chill of loneliness. One rainy afternoon, feeling particularly defeated, he sat at the piano, not for Henrietta, but for himself. He gently played a simple, melancholic tune his late wife used to love. As the soft notes filled the room, something incredible happened. Henrietta, who had been roosting quietly in her corner, hopped up onto the bench, then onto the keys. Arthur stopped playing, holding his breath. She looked at him, her head cocked to the side. Then, with a delicate precision he'd never seen before, she began to peck at the keys. Not randomly, not just hunting for seeds that weren't there. She pecked C, then G, then E. C, G. It was slow, a bit clumsy, but it was the melody. His melody. And then she kept going. She started stringing together other notes. Notes Arthur had played for her during their lessons. It wasn't a known song, not Chopin or Mozart. It was Henrietta's song. The notes were random but strangely beautiful. A sequence of high, tinkling sounds, followed by a series of lower, more resonant tones. It was chaotic, yet it had a rhythm, a soul. It was the sound of a creature expressing something pure and unscripted. It was the most beautiful music Arthur had ever heard. Tears welled up in his eyes. He wasn't a crazy old man. He was a man who had taught a chicken to make music. He had found a connection, a friendship, in the most unlikely of places. The music wasn't the point. The connection was, word got around, as it does in a small town. It started with Chloe, who came for her visit and walked in on the impromptu concert. Her jaw dropped. She pulled out her phone, her hands shaking slightly as she recorded. The video, as you can imagine, went viral. It wasn't just a funny animal trick video. There was something more to it. People saw what Arthur saw. A moment of pure, unexpected beauty. The Gables started bringing over home-baked pies, no longer watching from their window, but sitting in Arthur's living room, listening to Henrietta's latest composition. The jokes at the coffee shop turned into requests for private concerts. Arthur never entered Henrietta into the talent show. What they had was too special for a competition. It wasn't about winning or proving anyone wrong anymore. It was about those quiet afternoons, man and chicken, side by side at the piano, creating something beautiful together. It just goes to show you, sometimes the most extraordinary things happen when you're brave enough to try something utterly ridiculous. You might not teach a chicken to play Chopin, but you might just find a friend, a purpose, and a melody all your own. And that's a kind of magic that's better than any prize. So, what's your chicken and the piano? What absurd, wonderful idea is waiting for you to just give it a try? Think about it. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to look for the music in unexpected places. See you next time.